Hi, my name is Rick Sanchez. I'm with a company called Tractor Tip, and what we have for sale here today is a Takeuchi. It's a TL140. The serial number of this unit is 214023, and I'm going to leave that last digit blank. We're going to talk about the mechanics of this particular machine in the first clip, the operating specs in the second, we'll run it in the third. Price on a new machine like this these days is probably about 85-90 grand. As far as manufacturers go, Takeuchi is one of the top competitors on smaller utility type equipment. The weight of this particular machine is 9,600 pounds. The highest point is the top of this cab right here, which is 7.5 feet. The widest point are these tracks. If you take the bucket off, the tracks are 5 foot 10 inches wide. If you have the bucket on, this bucket width is 6 foot 8 inches wide. So again, the tracks are 5 foot 10 inches wide, but this bucket is 6 foot 8 inches wide. The transportation length from the tip of these teeth all the way to the back of the counterweight is 12.5 feet. Comparable machines are like a Komatsu CK35 or a Cat 277 or a Bobcat T250. As far as the history of this unit goes, this machine, like most of the machines we purchased, is an original owner Dallas, Texas machine. It has absolutely no rust. We're far enough south and 300 miles from the ocean, so the only salt we see is the salt on our kitchen tables. Just about every machine that we purchase comes from about 30 different well-organized contractors slash municipalities that we deal with here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. This particular tracked skid steer had a conscientious maintenance manager that had an excellent maintenance program that rivals some of the best I've seen. We, as well as our customers, have been happy with all the machines that we purchased from these guys, and it should be said that before I purchase any machine, I have my mechanics thoroughly inspect it, and then I inspect it. As far as options go, you can see it's got auxiliary hydraulics here. It's got a high flow connection here, and it's also got electronics here to run like a 6-way blade dozer or stuff like this. Divert flow. It's got a coupler here, which is pretty much standard with all skid steers. All skid steer attachments interchange. It's got rubber tracks. And it's got an outlet in the cab. I'm not sure. I think it is a 12-volt outlet in the cab. I was going to say this is a 12-volt machine, 12-volt system, so it's got to be 12-volt. As far as the engine goes, this engine, I don't know if you can see it in there. That's an Isuzu 4J G like good IT diesel engine. It's 81 horsepower. This machine has a 24-gallon fuel tank, which will give you 12 to 16 hours of operation, depending on your operation or your application. All the fluid levels on this unit are where they should be. This machine is mechanically sound. There's no leaks. Everything on it works. It's got a 2-speed transmission. Top speed is like 6.6 miles an hour. You can see the undercarriage is probably about 65%. The final drives have got plenty of power. Which will enable this machine to counter rotate very easily. As far as things wrong with this machine, this rear light here is not working. In the fullness of time, if we get a chance, we'll get that light replaced, but as of right now, we're selling it as it is. This rear glass right here is missing. So in the fullness of time, if we have this long enough and we get a chance, we'll replace that too. You know, another thing that's wrong is that this undercarriage isn't 100%. It's 65%, but I'll just point that out. It's far from needing to be replaced. It's still in good shape. One of these lights is also out in the front here. You know, obviously it doesn't have air conditioning because it's an open cab machine, so I guess you could consider that wrong with the machine. Especially in the heat. Today it's 98 degrees here in Dallas. These teeth here are about 50%. Again, this bucket width, as far as the work equipment on this machine, this bucket width is 6 foot 8 inches wide. It's 2 foot 2 inches tall, and it's 3 foot 3 inches deep. I would rate this bucket at about a yard, 1 yard bucket, maybe even 1.25 yards. The hinge pin height for this machine, like if you were loading into a dumpster, the highest point, the hinge pin height is 10.5 feet. The breakout force for this loader is 7,400 pounds. The operating capacity is about 2,500 pounds. And the static tip load is about 5,900 pounds. As far as the undercarriage goes, the width of this undercarriage is 18 inches long. Or 18 inches wide, rather. The amount of track on the ground is 6 foot 2 inches of track on the ground. I would put the PSI rating about, I don't know, 3 to 4. We've got a set of forks over here that I'd like to show you guys. Now these forks are being sold separately. Here's a Bobcat T630 to give you an idea. This is a smaller machine than that machine, but just for comparison, that's a T630. Oh, here's the forks right here. These forks right here, the tines, the fork length is 3 foot 7 inches. The carriage width from end to end is 4 feet. And the height of this carriage from the bottom of that heel to the top of this carriage is 3 foot 2 inches. We're going to run the machine in the next clip. Just for comparison also, this bucket, I guess you got your choice of buckets. This is a large volume bucket. It's on a Cat 246C, which actually weighs less than that the TL140. So anyway, and then we've got another bucket over there that's smaller, but so yeah, that's about it.
2.
Alright, so this is the inside of the cab. Here's your auxiliary hydraulics there. This has something to do with your hydraulics and your blade control. This is your horn, and and that has something to do with your bucket float. I think that's your bucket float. You've got a little roll bar type thing to, well, there you go. There's your buttons. That's for a breaker. That button to the left is a breaker. And that button to the right is something else. I said this unit had 1,303 hours on it. Evidently we've been using it around the yard since I got it, so it's actually got 1306.9. You can see all the gauges work. There's no error codes. There's your ignition switch. Those pedals don't do anything. 7,000 pounds. This skid steer, the static tipping load is like 5,000 pounds, so the skid steer will actually tip forward before the hydraulics give out. That's how powerful the hydraulics are. So I guess that's just an illustration. If the skid steers, all the hydraulics are fine on it.